Center. This is Emirates News with Ramia Faraj.
Hello and welcome to Emirates News, broadcasting from Dubai. The headlines tonight. The Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi discusses strengthening cooperation with the President of Kyrgyzstan. UAE diplomats in the process of leaving Afghanistan due to the security situation in Kabul. And in sport, with the new season set to start on Thursday, the UAE Football Association announces that some fans will be allowed in the stadiums. Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi and Deputy Supreme Commander of the UAE Armed Forces, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, has discussed ways of strengthening cooperation during a telephone call with Sadir Japarov, the President of Kyrgyzstan. The leaders reviewed the latest developments regarding the COVID-19 pandemic and its repercussions at humanitarian, health, and economic levels. They also exchanged views on a range of regional and global issues. UAE diplomats are in the process of leaving Afghanistan and will return home tonight and tomorrow. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation says this comprehensive evacuation of embassy personnel is due to the current security situation in Kabul, which requires immediate action. The ministry is currently working on facilitating a safe evacuation from Afghanistan through UAE airports. It's assisting diplomatic staff from France, the UK, the European Union, Canada, Australia, the Office of the United Nations Food Programme, the US, Germany, and Egypt. UAE Airlines have temporarily suspended flights to Kabul. Commercial flights in and out of Kabul were halted late last night. Local airlines say they're closely monitoring the situation in Afghanistan, and they will continue to review plans in line with instructions made by the competent authorities. Affected customers should contact their booking agents or local carriers' offices for options. To the latest coronavirus news now, and the number of new infections has fallen for the sixth day in a row, with just 1,109 new cases of the virus reported today. This brings the total number of infections recorded in the country to just under 703,000. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health and Prevention also announced 1,505 new recoveries today. That's the highest daily total since July 31st, and it brings the total number of recoveries to 681,000. Two more people have died here from the virus in the last 24-hour period, bringing the number of deaths to 2,003. Nearly 17.4 million vaccine doses have now been administered across the country at a rate of just under 176 doses per 100 people. As the UAE steps up its COVID-19 vaccination drive to protect the community, there are certain groups of individuals who are exempt from getting the jab. Faraj Javed has more on the categories of people who can apply for the exemption and the process to apply for the certificate.
Since the start of the pandemic, the UAE health authorities have been working tirelessly to curb the spread of the virus and protect the community by implementing an effective COVID-19 vaccination drive. However, the Ministry of Health and Prevention, along with Department of Health Abu Dhabi, have listed some categories of people that are exempted from getting inoculated. For instance, those who are currently infected with COVID-19 and those who were previously infected with the virus. What's more, participants of the vaccine's clinical trials and pregnant women are also exempted from getting the jab. And lastly, the authorities have also granted an exemption to people who have received the COVID-19 vaccine outside the UAE, as well as those who have experienced severe allergies to vaccines or those who may have an illness that conflicts with the vaccine. So now, the big question is, how does one get an official exemption from getting the COVID-19 vaccine? Well, here are 3 simple steps to get the certificate if you are living in Abu Dhabi. First thing first, head over to an authorized medical center in Abu Dhabi for medical evaluation, such as Abu Dhabi Health Services Company or Mubadala Healthcare. Step 2, the center will then submit a report to the Department of Health Abu Dhabi for approval. And finally, the applicant will be informed of the decision via a text message. And if approved, the decision will reflect on the Al Husn app. Meanwhile, if you are living in Dubai, contact the Dubai Health Authority to learn how to apply for the same. And if you are a UAE citizen or resident from Sharjah, Ajman, Al Quwain, or Ras Al Khaimah, then contact Ministry of Health and Prevention for the certificate. Faraz Javed, Emirates News.
From now on, all information related to the pandemic in Abu Dhabi, as well as mental health support, will be available 24/7 through the Istijaba Emergency Call Center. The center can be contacted for queries related to COVID-19 tests and vaccinations, the Emirates quarantine and isolation process, and even for psychological support. There are toll-free numbers for both within and outside of the UAE. Istijaba also responds to queries about preventative and precautionary measures in Abu Dhabi, procedures to enter the Emirate, and entry into public places. In other news, a man has been rushed by helicopter to hospital after suffering breathing difficulties while at sea. Emirates news agency says the Russian man in his 50s had to be airlifted from a ship along Abu Dhabi's coastline near the Zirku field. The National Search and Rescue Center and the Critical Infrastructure and Coastal Protection Authority were dispatched to transfer him to Sheikh Khalifa Medical City. He was treated for an acute respiratory problem and is under close observation. The names of the first 2 Emirati astronauts selected for UAE Analog Mission 1 in Russia have been announced. Analog astronaut Abdullah Al-Hamadi and analog astronaut Saleh Al-Ameri will take part in an 8-month mission that simulates a journey to Mars. Only one of the candidates will be selected, with the other chosen as a backup. The project is called Sirius 20/21. It's designed to study the effects of isolation and confinement on the human mind and body in order to help teams prepare for long-term space exploration. It means the successful candidate will be required to live alone for more than half a year to replicate the long journey to Mars. Both have begun training, with the experiment officially set to begin in November. More than 4,500 hybrid vehicles were part of the Dubai taxi fleet by the end of 2020. 4,510 of these vehicles were hybrid taxis. 173 were electric hybrid limos. The RTA was the first entity in the region to trial hybrid vehicles powered by fuel and electricity. Around 50% of the current fleet are hybrids, and the RTA plans to increase that to 80% by 2025. It also plans to modify the entire fleet to be eco-friendly by 2027. It's a move that's considered to be the first of its kind in the world. Business and the Department of Anti-Economic Crime at Dubai Police has recorded 315 cases of economic crime so far this year, with seizures worth more than 1.7 billion dirhams. The cases vary between commercial fraud, counterfeiting, multiplication of money, sorcery, and forgery. Over the past 5 years, there were 2,235 cases of economic crime worth more than 9.3 billion dirhams in confiscations. Officials say they work closely with partners from the Department of Economic Development, Dubai Customs, Dubai Land Department, and the UAE Central Bank, the TRA, and the DHA to ensure the security of the Emirates markets. Dubai recorded a 4.2% increase in capital value growth over the first half of 2021. That's according to a new study on values for prime residential properties across the globe carried out by Savills. Dubai was among the cities reporting positive capital value growth, driven by its success in handling the pandemic and proactive policy measures put in place to jumpstart the economy. This was seen as playing a crucial role in driving demand for prime residential real estate. Savills says the economic recovery and growth led by the increasing vaccination rate in the UAE is expected to further support buyer confidence and boost demand. Investment management company Waha Capital has completed the refinancing of its revolving credit facility with the support of 4 local and regional banks. The 3-year, $500 million flexible funding replaces and upsizes the current facility of $400 million. Waha Capital recorded a net profit of 154 million dirhams in the second quarter of this year. That's a 39% increase over the previous quarter. It brings net profit for the first 6 months of 2021 to 265 million dirhams. Etisalat Group has announced the appointment of Masood Sharif Mahmoud as Chief Executive Officer of Etisalat UAE Operations. Mahmoud is former Chief Executive of Mubadala-owned Yahsat. The new position is part of the telco's transformation strategy that targets diversifying and exploring new growth opportunities, accelerating business development in the digital field, expanding geographical presence, and maximizing operational efficiency. Abu Dhabi stocks rose in trading activity today, outperforming other Gulf markets. The ADX was boosted by extended gains in international holding after the conglomerate delivered strong first-half numbers last week. Other major Gulf markets were little changed in the absence of fresh factors. In Abu Dhabi, the index gained 0.8%, with international holding jumping about 3% in early trade. Last week, IHC reported a net profit of 4.36 billion dirhams for the first half of the year, way up from 814 million dirhams in the year-ago period. Sport, and the UAE Football Association says fans will no longer be banned from stadiums when the new season starts on Thursday. League and Cup fixtures for the coming season will be accepting spectators, but with a number of stipulations. Anyone wishing to attend a match must be over 16, have had 3 vaccine doses, or have had a second dose within 6 months, and everyone must show a negative PCR test result within 48 hours of kickoff. Face masks will be mandatory at all times, and social distancing must be adhered to. But just before the new season starts tonight are the awards for the best of last season. The Emirates Palace is hosting the annual Pro League ceremony, where the top prizes include Best Emirati Player, Best Foreign Player, Best Head Coach, and Best Youth Player. The end-of-season awards usually take place in May, but due to the pandemic restrictions, it was held over until tonight. The event will be broadcast live on the Pro League's website from 8 p.m. So the new domestic football season gets underway this weekend with games on Thursday and Friday. Emirates Club are at home against Shabab Al Ahli in the opening match of the newly named ADNOC Pro League. They kick off at 7:15, as does newly promoted Al Uruba against Al Wahda. Later at 9:30, it's Al Nasser away at Ajman. Friday begins with reigning league champions Al Jazeera at home against Al Dhafra. Al Ain travel to Corfacon Sharjah to take on Kalba, and finally Al Wasl travel from Dubai to Abu Dhabi to take on Bani Yas. And the Dubai Sports Council has welcomed representatives from the Cuban Sports Ministry to its headquarters in Dubai. The DSC offered to host more training camps for Cuban sports teams in Dubai in the future. There are currently 6 Cuban sports teams for people of determination in Dubai to prepare for the Paralympic Games that will be held in Tokyo. And finally tonight, Sharjah Book Authority has launched a global campaign aimed at bringing people closer to books. As part of its biggest international initiative to date, it's also offering discounts of up to 50% on books at online stores. Amina Al-Jabri has the details.
Encouraging reading for pleasure among the UAE community, especially the younger generation, is one of the key mandates of the Emirates Publishers Association. This resonates with the launch of a new cultural initiative on a mission to bring people from all walks of life closer to books. Titled with the catchy slogan, "If you're into something, you're into books," Sharjah Book Authority's new campaign is not only considered one of the largest of its kind in the region and globally, it also aims to steer people away from the common notion that books are only for bookworms and intellectuals. The campaign connects and embraces every individual from all corners of the globe, regardless of age, race, ethnicity, or socio-economic backgrounds. The initiative also sends out an enduring universal message. Moreover, the global campaign also drives the authorities' key message forward through a variety of written, audio, and visual formats available in their native international languages to ensure the campaign has a vast cultural appeal of diverse audiences worldwide. This reinforces the often life-affirming and life-changing relationship between an individual and the written word. The international campaign marks a new milestone in taking Sharjah's cultural vision to the world, ensuring every individual has access to books. And as part of its biggest global campaign ever, the authority is offering discounts of up to 50% on books through its collaboration with major online stores. So whether you're a gamer, musician, athlete, or fashion enthusiast, there is a book out there to fuel one's curiosity. Books catering to all genres imaginable. No matter how simple, strange, or rare the topic, there's a book out there just waiting to be discovered. Amal Al-Jabri, Emirates News.
Okay, on that we end tonight's program. Follow us at Emirates_News on Instagram and on Twitter. Thanks for watching. We will be back at the same time tomorrow. Until then, good night.